I'm going to tell you why I don't use private blog networks or PBNs. My name is Doug Cunnington. I'm the founder of Niche Site Project, and I write about Amazon affiliate websites and how I apply project management best practices to make it easier. So let's rewind a little bit. I got into internet marketing about 4 years ago. And well, frankly, before that, I didn't know anything about internet marketing. I didn't know you could actually make money online, first of all. I didn't know how easy it was, especially back then. When I first got into it, it was 2013. And I guess it was easier back then in some ways. The landscape has definitely changed in SEO. And I know if you rewind a few years even before that, if you just put up a website and loaded it up with keywords, you could rank. And then a few years after that, things changed. It's just a changing landscape. But we'll bring us back to 2013. And at that point, I found the Smart Passive Income podcast. In fact, I listened to it from episode 1 all the way up to current days back then, which there must have been 50 or 70 episodes by that time. And I remember I heard the interview with Spencer Haws from Niche Pursuits, and I thought it was super interesting. So I hopped over to the Niche Pursuits website and blog and the podcast as well. Of course, I was super interested in the whole concept of an Amazon affiliate site. You could imagine if that's what I'm still talking about today. Not only was I super interested, but I got obsessed with it. So at that time, Spencer was actually launching Niche Pursuits Niche Site Project. It was his Niche Site Project. Thanks, Spencer, for the name idea, by the way. I obviously ran with it at the time. It ties in with my project management background, so I feel okay using it. But nevertheless, Spencer was launching his first niche site project. He was doing a public case study and he was documenting everything. I read every single post that I could, everything that he published. I listened to all the podcasts that I can get my hands on. And back then, Spencer was a proponent of private blog networks. It was kind of the leading edge of what the SEO industry was doing. It was sort of frowned upon. It was a gray hat, but even people like Pat Flynn and Spencer were talking about private blog networks and link pyramids and link rings. And if you go and look at the Smart Passive Income blog, you'll find, the SEO That Works post from 2011 or so had all sorts of what we consider gray hat and generally ineffective practices for that time period. They're ineffective now, but they were, what people used back then. So anyway, I was following along with this case study and sort of launched my online marketing, internet marketing career based on what Spencer was implementing. As I mentioned, he was implementing private blog networks. So I did that. And in fact, it worked great. I was able to, rank my site for 2 fairly large search terms. So one of them, I think, got about maybe 1,500 searches per month, and then the other got about 6,000 searches per month. And I was able to rank both of those #1 in Google within 2 or 3 months. Nowadays, it's 2017 when I'm shooting this right now. Nowadays, it can take you 6 months to a year to 18 months, depending on how competitive the space is. But 2013 was a different time. You could, buy a Hoth package with Web 2.0s, which I did. You could build a private blog network and then buy other links from, other networks that were out there, which I did. And I want to say within like 4 months or so, I was making over $1,000 a month. And then within, I think it was less than 6 months. Within 5 months, my site made $6,452 in 1 month. That was actually December. So of course the retail season is a big, a big thing to consider there. But nevertheless, I went from, not knowing what a niche site was to making, I think that first year I made over $10,000 just from the Amazon affiliate program. So that was really cool. And I felt great about it. I thought I was going to, quit my job really pretty fast actually, and just go all in with this niche site stuff. It didn't even really take that much time. I thought maybe, well, I'm just gonna keep my job and build these sites on the side, and continue getting good benefits, and why not be able to save all that money. Great. Well, fast forward just one more month, so we're talking January of 2014. I think it was like January 9th or 10th. There was an email that I received from the Google Webmaster Tools section, and unfortunately my site was penalized for unnatural link building. So they detected unnatural links. Those were most likely private blog network links, and my site went from getting, I think it was about 1,300 unique visitors per day to about 100. And my income went from, a few $100s a day to like $100 a month. So it was a devastating thing that happened. And I mean, it's kind of a story that you hear over and over again from SEOs. I was making $6,000 a day, and then my site got penalized and all my income went away overnight. So it's a little hyperbole, a little dramatic on my part, but nevertheless, it is quite possible for this business model to bite you in the ass. I mean, it'll come out of nowhere, and you could be making $400 a day, and then next thing you know, tomorrow, zero. So it's quite volatile when you're depending on the Google algorithm. And if you're doing any sort of thing that violates the terms of service, it puts you at risk. So I think you see where I'm going. For me, I would prefer a lower risk situation. I'm trying to build a long-term asset through my Amazon affiliate niche sites. And I would much prefer that it takes me longer to rank than for me to be at risk, not knowing if my site's going to be penalized. If I can't handle that. I don't have the stomach for it anymore. Now, I will tell you, I have a lot of friends that do use PBNs, and you know what? They make lots of money. Now, they will tell you it's higher risk, and a lot of times when someone hits a certain level using PBNs, I feel like most of the time they seek to diversify a little bit and build a white hat site using guest posting, or maybe they want to have a services business to diversify their risk, because they know while things are good right now, all it takes is a competitor to report their site, and then their network could be discovered, their network could be de-indexed. I mean, it's possible that their site may not be penalized, but their network could be de-indexed, and that would cause their site to lose ranking. So that's a factor too. Now, I'll go back to my story here. So in 2014, in January, my site was penalized, and I thought, hey, that sucks. I need to do something. So fast forward a couple more months. I actually remember this quite well. I was in Austin, Texas. We were, doing some slow travel. We were spending about a month there. So I remember, setting up the site, building the sites in Austin in this house that we were renting, and I set up 4 sites. It was actually a case study. So I was doing 2 brand new domains, and then I built 2 other sites on expired domains that had good metrics. So I thought, hey, I'm going to do a little experiment. I'll launch 4 sites, 2 on one topic and 2 on another topic. And then I'd have my experiment, right? Interesting data. And at the end of the day, I could just, move the content over to whatever site won. And I was hoping to have 2 profitable sites. This was like in March or April of 2014. And I was also still doing my gray hat link building technique. So I was using Web 2.0s from the Hoth. I would normally get I got a Hoth package for each of the sites, a Hoth Platinum package, that is. So it was sort of the higher end of the work that you could get done by the Hoth. I still like the work that the Hoth does, by the way. They do an excellent job. They have fantastic customer service, actually some of the best customer service that I've seen in the internet marketing industry. So moving on, I also had a PBN. I had a very large PBN. We're talking, roughly 50 sites or so, which I guess it depends on who you talk to. They may say that's not very large, but 50 sites was a reasonable size PBN for me. I felt like it was as much as I wanted to grow. There's a lot of overhead with dealing with a PBN, and there's a lot of footprints that you need to make sure that you're not leaving, or else you're susceptible to being penalized. So if you fast forward a few more months to around the September time frame of 2014, you may remember that several people were penalized with what we refer to as like the thin content penalty. So again, I got an email and it said my sites were penalized because of thin content. And I thought, hey, that's crazy. I have thousands of words of content. These are written by, American or English speaking writers. I proofread a lot of the content myself, and the content's not thin. It's actually quite helpful. So I thought there must be some kind of mistake. But it turns out the reason why I got penalized, at least in my opinion, is I was sharing my PBN with other people. And in turn, they were sharing their network with me. So what happens is you end up with this huge web. We had our own sort of intranet of PBN. We thought we were safe. We thought we were safe because it was a private group, right? It wasn't a place where we were selling links or anything like that. We were just sharing it amongst our, small group of, handful of people, right? I won't say the specific people that were in the group with me or how many sites we had or anything like that. But we were taking, good measures to make sure we weren't leaving footprints. Unfortunately, the huge footprint that we were actually leaving was the fact that we were sharing a network among several different people. So when you took a step back, I'm sure it was pretty easy to dissect the whole network and then reverse engineer what we were doing. The other part is, even if I was following, I'm not saying I was, but even if I was following all the best practices for implementing and using a PBN without leaving a footprint, that doesn't mean that my friends were doing the same sort of OCD approach to make sure they weren't leaving a footprint. Maybe they left a footprint and then all of a sudden our whole network was exposed. In fact, many, many, many people were penalized in that September 2014 timeframe. So at that point, I kind of learned my lesson. I thought, hey, is it really worth the risk? I spent all this time in 2013 and it worked out. I made lots of money and I thought, hey, maybe I found a new career for myself. But then in 2014, I got penalized twice, not just once, but twice. And then for the 4 sites that I set up for the case study, I ended up spending, thousands and thousands of dollars and many, many hours of time. I don't even want to think about how much time I lost working on those sites. And they didn't even make any money. At the end of the day, they only made a few dollars, and it was a terrible, sad experience overall. But I learned a lot through this penalizing, issues that I had. So basically, I learned a few things about myself. One, I can deal with some risk, but that level of risk with that amount of investment in time is not for me, right? So like I said, I know PBNs can work, and I know a lot of people use them effectively, but for me, that's not what I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build a long-term business that, one, maybe I could sell it later. I could sell a site later. Maybe I want to have the nice cash flow that comes along with a successful Amazon affiliate site. And if you want to have a income source that you can actually rely on, you need to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure by putting it at a huge risk. So when you use PBNs, even if you are doing the best practices and you're not leaving a footprint, there's still more risk than if you use white hat techniques. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that even if you use white hat techniques, you're still at risk, right? I mean, you're trying to rank in Google, so you don't really control that part of the picture. And then the other part, right? So if you follow my blog at Niche Site Project, you'll remember that in March of 2017, Amazon changed their terms of service as far as the commission rates that they pay their affiliates. So, I mean, being an affiliate marketer, you don't have control of, your source of traffic, and then you don't control the affiliate model. Now, I mean, I'm happy that I'm part of this ecosystem, and I'm happy to play within the rules that Google and Amazon have laid out before me. It's totally fine. Like, I understand why Amazon would change their commission rate. For them, it's a great move. And for me, I took a big hit, a 35% decrease in the revenue from my Amazon affiliate sites. Just, I happened to be hit fairly hard. But it still turns out that, 65% of that revenue is still there, which turns out to be a large amount of revenue that I'm still happy with. The other part is it, makes me tighten up what I'm doing. So I can say, add more content. I can try to improve my conversion rate and do a better job, which I was kind of lazy, right? The Amazon affiliate program, one of the great reasons that it's so powerful is you could kind of be sloppy and put up a site. As long as you're providing good information, there's some things that you can be sloppy with. I mean, you don't even have to have that much content on your site. But, if I want to recover that 35% that I lost, I just need to publish more content, make sure I'm giving the users what they need, and maybe even provide higher value content that encourages the visitor to actually go to Amazon and make the purchase. So when you put it all together here, I think the picture that I'm painting is really, I went out and I learned a lot. I made a lot of mistakes, and then I eventually figured out the business model that I want to be a part of is one that is lower in risk. It's a site that I would be happy, sending it to my parents and, showing them, hey, this is a solid review. If you're interested in this product X and you want to know about it and you want to know what features, what models you should care about, go read this review, and I can assure you that it brings value and you can learn from it. So that's the kind of site I want to have. I don't want to have one that, has some dodgy backlinks from, weird sites that are from expired domains. So that's just personally what I try and do. And for me, the value of the long-term asset, the long-term cash flow is huge. And I think, most people, if they had the choice, they would opt for the lower risk. So for me, with a longer time frame, to be able to build links and to build my site, I think it's definitely the way to go to not use private blog networks. Now, I wonder what you think. Do you use private blog networks? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know why or why not you use PBNs. If you enjoyed the video, I encourage you to check out some of the others. I actually have about a dozen or more Amazon affiliate site examples. I actually tear down the sites. I show you what I like. I show you what I don't like. And people seem to really like those videos. So check it out, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.